Good day, everyone. This is Mr. Ma, and welcome to today's discussion. So, in our previous explainer, we figured out that a risk is basically just the possibility that something harmful might happen. But just knowing a risk exists, that's really only half the battle. Today, we're shifting our focus from simply identifying risks to actually managing them in a fast-paced hospitality setting. We're going to explore how we plan ahead to prevent problems before they ever even occur. Okay, let's dive right in. I want you to picture this. It's a chaotic Monday morning at your hotel. Heavy rain just poured down, creating this incredibly slippery, wet marble floor right in the main lobby. And at the exact same time, you've got a VIP guest yelling at the front desk about spoiled breakfast food, the kitchen fire alarm is malfunctioning and just randomly beeping, a housekeeping attendant has just slipped and injured their wrist, and, to top the whole shebang off, 30 rooms are delayed for check-in. As a manager, you literally cannot ignore these cascading crises. They all demand your attention right now at the exact same time. So, what do you do first? I challenge you to think like a hotel manager right now. You've got to prioritize these emergencies. Do you help the injured employee? Do you secure that wet lobby floor? Or maybe stop serving the unsafe food? You obviously can't do them all at once. And this exact situation perfectly highlights the critical need for a structured decision-making framework. Because without a system, small problems spread like wildfire and quickly escalate into major disasters. Here is our roadmap for today's explainer. We've just survived a very busy hospitality morning. Next up, we'll define risk management, then compare reactive versus proactive operations, explore the continuous management loop, and finally, triage some operational hazards. Let's move from chaos to total control. Section 2. Defining risk management. To really get this, we need to bridge the gap between academic theory and actual practice. The international standard, specifically ISO 31000, defines risk simply as the effect of uncertainty on objectives. Kind of dry, right? But translating that into the hospitality world means the uncertainty is whether a guest might slip on that wet floor. The effect is a potential lawsuit, a nasty injury, or terrible online reviews. And our ultimate objective? Providing safe, profitable, 5-star service. Formally speaking, ISO 31000 defines risk management as a coordinated set of activities used to direct and control an organization with regard to risk. Now, the absolute crucial takeaway here is that in hospitality, this definition means we do not wait around for accidents to happen. We actively inspect our facilities, we constantly train our employees, we strictly monitor food safety, and we prep our emergency plans. It's all about planning ahead so that problems are prevented, or at least significantly minimized. Section 3. Reactive versus proactive operations. Let's compare these two totally different approaches. A reactive organization basically waits until something bad happens before taking any action. Think about waiting for a guest to actually fall down a broken staircase before deciding, hey, maybe we should fix that. That approach leads to an accident-prone workplace, massive financial losses, and a staff that is constantly just putting out fires. Conversely, a proactive organization prevents the accidents before they occur. They regularly inspect those staircases to prevent the fall entirely. This creates a much safer environment, completely protects profits, and lets the staff focus on what they do best, delivering excellent service. Making the shift is a real game changer. Proactive risk management doesn't just protect people from physical harm. It completely transforms the entire guest experience, from feeling inconsistent and anxious to feeling seamless and confident. It's absolutely essential for maintaining a strong, sustainable business reputation. Plus, preventing risks in the first place is vastly cheaper than responding to emergencies and paying out hefty legal fees. If we look at this in real-world terms, specifically in the Philippine hospitality landscape, we see some truly unique hazards, especially natural ones. Resorts in places like Boracay and Siargao, they have to proactively secure their outdoor furniture and prep backup generators long before a typhoon hits to reduce property damage. Then there's strict food safety compliance with agencies like the FDA and NMIS to prevent foodborne illnesses. And of course, those nationwide simultaneous earthquake and fire drills. Those ensure staff are actually trained to protect lives rather than panicking when disaster strikes. Which brings us to Section 4, the continuous management loop. Here's a secret. Risk management is never a one-time fix. It's just not. Instead, it is a dynamic, never-ending cycle that has to be woven into your daily operations. We use a continuous loop to systematically tackle uncertainty. Really resilient organizations understand that the moment one cycle finishes, the next one immediately begins. Because, well, risks are constantly changing. There are 5 vital steps in this loop. First, we identify the hazard, like spotting that wet floor. Second, we assess the danger, so how likely is a slip and how serious would the injury actually be. Third, we control the risk by taking immediate action. Fourth, we monitor the situation to check if our control measures are actually working. And finally, step 5, we review the entire process to see if we can make long-term improvements so the problem doesn't pop up again.
Let's apply this 5-step loop to a super practical scenario. Someone spills hot soup on a restaurant floor. First, an employee identifies the puddle. They assess it and realize, okay, high risk of slipping, moderate risk of a burn. They immediately control it by blocking the area and throwing down a wet floor sign. Then they monitor the floor to ensure it's completely 100% dry before removing that sign. But here's the most important part, the review. During a team huddle later, they ask, hey, why did that tray tip in the first place? Do we need to invest in non-slip trays? You see, immediate control prevents the injury today, but the review prevents the tray from ever tipping tomorrow.
Section 5, Triaging Operational Hazards. Okay, let's do a quick workshop. I'm going to give you 3 distinct, high-stakes hospitality hazards, and you're the supervisor. Situation 1, a frayed electrical cord on a hotel room hairdryer. Situation 2, raw chicken being stored on the very top shelf right above fresh salads in the fridge. And situation 3, a broken lock on a guest's room door. Think about the potential risks here. We're talking electric shock, food poisoning, and theft or unauthorized entry. How are you going to control these? Let's walk through the exact control measures. For that hairdryer, you don't just leave it for the next guest. You remove that frayed cord from service immediately to prevent a fire or shock. For the fridge, you absolutely must store that raw chicken on the bottom shelf. That stops any juices from dripping and causing cross-contamination with the ready-to-eat salad. And for the door, you completely block that room assignment until the lock is repaired, ensuring your guest's security. Effective management requires this kind of immediate, proactive decision-making to protect life, assets, and service. As we wrap up this explainer, I want you to think about a beautifully prepared hotel room. True hospitality, it isn't just about serving your guests with a warm smile. It's about utilizing risk management as an invisible shield. When we constantly identify, assess, and control uncertainties, we ensure that every single guest goes home safely. It protects our operations, it elevates our service, and at the end of the day, it ultimately drives higher profits. I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. Before we can control risks, we must first recognize the hazards that create them. We've talked a whole lot about risk today, but what exactly makes a hazard different from a risk? Are they just the exact same thing? Think about that for a bit. We're going to be exploring that critical difference in our next explainer. Thank you so much for joining me today, and keep that invisible shield strong.